Oh my god, we gotta talk about this. Hello internet, I'm HamsterBomb, and you guys just got, let's just say some news from Pokemon Direct, and I'm gonna stay, but first off, as unbiased as I possibly can. Basically, what you guys have is some news that just came in from them. I'm on their Twitter page right now, showing some new information that just came out about a new release of a new installment of Pokemon series. It is going to be called Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, coming out in November 17th, 2017. Aside from that, there is also a lot more news we have about Pokemon Tournament DX, which is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Also, Pokemon Gold and Silver are finally coming to Virtual Console. That is actually good news. That is really cool to see. But aside from that, I mean, for the most part, the Direct really got a lot of information about this Pokemon game for the Switch, which I'm really hoping that's not the Switch title that they were promising us. But what is really a big deal that I need to talk to you guys about, because I want to make sure that you guys don't keep falling for this, is this. This is a problem, and this has to stop. This is embarrassing for me, at least for me as a Pokemon fan. I look around my room and I see all of my Pokemon stuff, and right now, I look at it and I'm embarrassed. I look at it and I see they think I'm stupid. They think you're stupid. And right now, they're right, because they're gonna make money on this idea anyway. I should really elaborate on what this is, and shouldn't keep going back to this gold and silver thing, because that's actually really cool. People have been asking for that, but here's the thing. We don't know too much about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. At the very least, let me finish going over what we do know. It was basically thrown in at the very end of a trailer that we saw for the Switch version of Pokken, or Pokemon Tekken, that game. And it's extremely short. You see very little footage from the actual game. So to be fair, we can't really be judging it too harshly just yet. But I think we know all we need to know. And that is that these two images right here are not actually pulled from a 12-year-old's DeviantArt account. No, these are actually real. These are Necrozma combined with either of the legendaries from Sun and Moon, Solgaleo and Lunala, into whatever forms, I don't know, I don't really care. I'm going to explain to you guys why I think you should be mad about this if you're not already, because based on the reactions that I am seeing moving around through Twitter, there's very, very, very few positive feedback. In fact, I've only seen, I'm not kidding, about 4 comments with positive feedback, and immediately Pokemon retweets them. I even made fun of them on my own Twitter page, completely mocking them for it, saying, wow, congratulations on that damage control. You managed to find 3 positive comments about this new Pokemon announcement. Oh my god. So anyway, I want to get back to this. I want to give you legitimate little reasons of why I think you guys should be upset, instead of just reacting, which is honestly what I'm doing. It's really difficult to get past all of this because of this is something that is kind of hard to explain, because it's coming after so much time in Pokemon history, and seeing like repeat offenses that keep happening over and over again. And this is like everything we don't want, but everything that Nintendo, I swear Nintendo sees that's going to make them money. And honestly, it's terrible business practice what they're doing right here. So basically, like I said, what I saw here, personally, I think these two designs look atrocious. I like Necrozma. I think he's cool, mysterious, and like an extra legendary you get out of Sun and Moon. Leave it at that. If anything, Solgaleo and Lunala now combined with this guy, immediately what I see, and I'm sure you guys saw too, is this is QRM again. This is Black 2, White 2 again. Instead of us getting an obvious sequel like we were all expecting For the Switch, everyone was I'm not going to say I'm disappointed because we didn't get a title for the Switch. And it is still possible that this game may be ported to the Switch later, but as of now, this is a 3DS title, not a Switch title. So we were expecting that for one. Pokemon had already registered the name Pokemon Stars, or Star, I'm not sure which it was, but it doesn't really matter. Pokemon has copyrighted names in the past and not used them. So it could have been a safety thing. It also could have been to throw everybody off intentionally to make them think that's what they were getting. Same thing kind of happened with Pokemon Black 2, White 2. They did the same thing with Gray. So it never happened, and instead we get 2 sequels. Now, I gotta say, like I said, this is a thing from Nintendo history. I gotta get back to a point where you guys see we have been getting 2 of every Pokemon game for a long time. I know this is not the main problem. I know Pokemon's been doing this, but think for a second. What other game constantly releases 2 titles at the same time with very, very minute differences and doesn't get insane backlash and hate for doing it immediately? I can't think of any. If you guys can, please let me know in the comments because I don't know any right now, and I would love to make a better analogy here. But say in the instance of the original games, I want to say we rarely had something like this happen where Pokemon is releasing multiple times on the same console. The Game Boy Color was the first time it happened with Red, Blue, Gold, and Silver. Another generation showed up on the same console. We also, in that generation, got Yellow and Crystal. They were single expansions, kind of like perfecting what that generation was and finishing, cleaning some things up, adding a lot of new content. This happened again in Ruby and Sapphire, except that was a Game Boy Advance title, and we got Emerald. Great, moved on to there to the Nintendo DS. From here, we got 2 generations. This is where I'm going to get really similar to this. The Nintendo DS, which I want to point out, everything playable on the Nintendo DS is playable on the 3DS. So at this point, as of right now, because people are also mad about there no being announced for a Sinnoh remake, which I think is ridiculous. We should never have one. The reason is, if you can play everything on a Nintendo DS, why on earth should we have remakes of Nintendo DS games for the Nintendo DS? It makes no sense. The only reason we had remakes of a Red and Blue, or Red and Green, however you want to put it, they were remade so that we can play them on the newer titles, because there was no way to transfer Pokemon between Gen 1 and 2 up through 3 and on. There still is no way to do it. So the problem here, after we remade the first 2 generations, and now, because of the other announcement, they are on Virtual Console, there is no reason, and I don't want to watch that just in case I get copyrighted for it, there is no reason to see any more remade games at all. Because, okay, that's another thing. If you constantly, guys, are badgering them wanting remakes, and that's honestly what you want, go back and play the other game, because right now you can play it on the same console you have right now, and if anything, you're giving Pokemon an easy incentive to do something very simple with very little effort and make a ton of money on it. They think you're that stupid, and the problem is there's so many people out here who actually are, like, really excited about a Sinnoh remake. And I'm not mad about a potential Sinnoh remake because I don't like 4th gen too much. Those of you guys who watch my streams, you know you love getting me to complain about 4th gen and Pokemon. That has nothing to do with the remake. Say, for example, I didn't think we needed a remake for Ruby and Sapphire. I love Ruby and Sapphire dearly. I think they're amazing Pokemon games. The remakes were good, but they were unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Now, if you guys want a Sinnoh remake, there's no reason at all. You're giving Pokemon an easy incentive to not be creative anymore. And on top of that, the only thing left for their creativity outside of them now being expected to make remakes every, like, 2 years or so, if that's really what you want from them, which is horrible, I would say a little more over 2 years, though, but still, they better not do that. I was expecting, you know, maybe if you remade, for example, Diamond and Pearl on the Switch, then hey, it's not on the same console. You can remake it, use some new hardware, try and make the same game look better, and focus on remastering as opposed to rehashing. And that is, I think, what Pokemon is really falling back on. So like I want to get back to remake titles, or re-releasing similar games on the same console. So Nintendo DS, we have Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. Okay, we had the same kind of style where we had a third installment fixing a lot of the programming and the hardware, not the hardware, but the software, how the game actually physically runs, and it performs much better in Platinum than it did in the previous 2 iterations. We move on from there to the second release on the same console. Like I said, this hasn't happened since the Game Boy, which was Black and White. And then from Black and White, sure, a lot of people weren't so excited about it. I actually vouch for that series because of what they tried to do in terms of creativity, as in, you know, try and make your own region with a new 150 Pokemon. Sure, people didn't really love the designs too much, but hey, they tried. I am all for it when Pokemon actually tries. To me, this is not trying. This is not effort. This is disgusting. Sorry, I'm getting back to my point. So, from Black and White, we were all expecting some sort of game to explain Kyurem, this legendary that's just out there somewhere. Very similar to Zygarde. I'm going to get to him later. So, we get to the point where we're all expecting to see something about Kyurem in a new game, and we get a surprise release of Black 2 and White 2. Now, the reason we were really upset then was that the second iteration of the game, for one, was a sequel. It is 2. This is even different from that. I will get into this later. But it was a sequel trying to make sure that they're not devaluing the original 2 games. But now, assuming you bought the first 2, you must now buy the next 2. For what reason? Who cares? The box art shows this legendary fused with the opposite legendary. For what reason other than who cares? He just did it. It happened. Now, from there, we were all excited thinking, okay, Pokemon Fusion is going to be a thing. This is going to be really cool, you know, because it's a thing on the sprites. You know, people have been making Pokemon Fusion forever. No, that wasn't a thing. It turned out it was really just a story rehash. So 3 years later, it didn't even really make too many changes. People were still not very happy about it. Now, I gotta say, what's a weird coincidence is now that we have another set of generation games appearing on the same console, the 3DS, like I said, the 3DS can still play all the DS games. The 3DS can now do X and Y, which actually had no extra iteration to it because it got slapped in to Sun and Moon. Why? I think they rushed the game. If you haven't seen my Let's Play, I find many, many instances where they rushed Sun and Moon. And they threw in basically all of the extra things that X and Y was missing. You know, because each new Pokemon game nowadays, I think since Black and White, have been including elements of the game where you feel like something's incomplete and you're going to get answers in the next installment of the same generation. And it's been happening that way. I think it's unfortunate. It's kind of lazy. But the biggest problem is nowadays, it's only a 50% chance if they're actually going to fulfill those empty promises or not in the game. So there's characters, for example, in X and Y who imply that Volcanion is related to one of the fountains in the center city, and he's not. You know, and there's tons and tons of things like this. I can go on all day, but I won't. So my point was, you're playing 2 different iterations of the same game on here, and X and Y's extra game pretty much got canned in order to throw the extra content into Sun and Moon to make it come out faster to release for the holiday, just like this game. So they released Sun and Moon pretty much, in my opinion, way too early. The game wasn't finished yet, and they were doing it, I think, mainly for money. Now, to be fair, I don't really have a problem with Pokemon making their initial 2 games different. Sun and Moon, X and Y. At this rate, it's become a staple in the franchise. I don't have a problem with that. I had a problem with Black 2 and White 2. That's really pushing it too far. It's a marketing thing. Someone in marketing in Pokemon was deciding, hey, okay, we know we're making more money if we don't release a single game that unifies and makes like a staple version of this generation. If we make 2, we sell twice as many copies, because at this rate, people are buying us solely because we're Pokemon, not because of what we're creating. It has nothing to do with what's in the game. We know nothing other than the generation about what is in this game and this image right here of showing these 2 Pokemon in a few little clips, short clips, like showing that Mimikyu has his own Z move. Whatever. You know, little things like that. We know practically nothing about this so far, and it doesn't matter. What matters is that they think we're stupid. They think we're buying into this crap, and we're going to keep buying both games in order to double their profits, and all they're doing is dividing their effort in half. They are not working on anything new here. I don't see anything creative out of this at all. Like I said, honestly, this looks like it was designed by a 12-year-old. And no offense to any 12-year-olds who are drawing their own Pokemon, but my point is, it shouldn't... okay, there's an extra level of skill, let's be honest, that we're expecting Pokemon to be able to create here. And it does really scarily resemble what happened in Black 2, White 2, releasing on the same console for the second time, 2 installments. For what reason? There's no reason other than to milk the ever-living crap out of Sun and Moon. Like, I don't see any reason to do this at all. And seriously, I say shame on these people who are just doing this, I think, to try and get Pokemon to retweet their comments here. It's sick. It's really sick. I'm going to click on this and try and actually get some information on this guy, because this is sick. We want Pokemon Stars. Well, see, that was another thing. A lot of people aren't here complaining, yeah, Nintendo's just doing this to make money. People are complaining because this is really just Pokemon saying, we're not going to work on new content if we don't have to. If we can rehash the same thing, change a few things, we use this formula that made us money in 5th gen. You guys didn't like it, but honestly, they're saying here, we don't care. We want the money, and the money is doubled if we do this. Why aren't they on Switch? People are also upset about them being on Switch or not. Wow, that's offensive, okay. But yes, people are very... Okay, this is getting real. People are very upset. Let's just leave it at that. I don't even want to scroll through there because it's serious. It's obscene. I was reading through it all beforehand, and it's really shameful. Honestly, I think there's two big problems here. Pokemon treats us like crap, for the most part. But no, they don't treat us like crap. They more treat us like people who are just easy repeat customers. Like I said, they think we're stupid. They think we're stupid, and I think the biggest problem is the community is divided between two people. There's the 1% of the people who have a huge audience of Pokemon fans whose either YouTube channels or even jobs ride on them liking anything that happens, whatever Pokemon says. Clearly, I'm not like that. This is infuriating. And then there's basically the rest of the Pokemon community who I would say then divides into... like 30% and then another 60. It's kind of hard to say, but there's a small percentage who is really just the young players, the new ones of the generation who just started playing either X and Y, Sun and Moon, and this is cool. This is new. They like this. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is there's everybody else who has seen stuff like this happen over and over again, and the fact that this is this is Black 2, White 2. It's the same thing. Even the concept, the gimmick is the same. Are you kidding me? It's like there's no effort here. Zero effort. Like, it looks so poorly designed for one, poorly thought out. Like, there's no foresight here. This looks purely like an absolute failure, in my opinion. Like, here we go. Here's me saying it right here. That was initially what I said right when I saw this. Bad game. Like, I'm sick of them doing this. Exploring the same region after a year after the first game. Yes, like, there's something... Sinnoh remake. Stop. Mystery is why isn't it on the Switch? Some people are theorizing that this may eventually come to the Switch, but that's neither here nor there. Wonder how soon after beating this game I'll stop playing it. Very good question there, Demon King. We need Switch versions. That's not going to save the game, though. I mean, granted, yes, if you could completely, like, fix the graphics up and saw a new game that is played on a different console, then you got an excuse. But really, this should not be acceptable anymore. The only reason they're getting away with this is because of people like this, who are solely here wanting the rehashed crap content. Temp, you should be satisfied with this rehashed crap because it's exactly what you're getting. That is exactly what you're getting, and if you keep buying these games like this, if you tell Pokemon this is acceptable by buying these kind of games, they're gonna give you stuff like Sinnoh remakes. And then what's gonna happen after that? They're gonna give you Unova remakes. Is that what you want? And then after that, we're gonna get more and more remakes. Do you want a remake every few years? A remake between every 2 installments of a new Pokemon game? Are you serious? We don't, for one, I told you the releases, we don't even need them. It makes no sense to even make them anymore. It was just so that we could trade up our new Pokemon and replay the generations because the batteries were dying. There was no way to still play it. There's no reason for the remake. That needs to stop. Oh my god. It's infuriating. Look really weird. Are those 2 Necrozmas, new forms like Kyurem's Black 2, White 2? Yep, they're just fused with Necrozma, which is so lame. Like, it's not even just the experienced players who are seeing through this, it's everybody. I mean, I could read through there forever. There's a ridiculous amount of retweets and actual replies to this. It goes on forever. So, and there's tons of things that they've been releasing too. Like, it's sad. It's seriously sad. Like, I look at this and I think, well, for one, also, this could have been done. I think that's another infuriating thing about this. It could have been done so easily. All they needed to do was, if they created Pokemon Star, you know, for one, it's a singular game. Uniting the 2 together, add some extra content. Yes, that's different enough. I can accept that. 2, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Okay, let's stop for a second and think. If you're going to include Necrozma in series, you insist, someone in marketing insists that he must fuse with the other legendaries like in Black 2, White 2, then, okay, Necrozma, the Pokemon, the Prism Pokemon, the Light, Lasers, Beam Pokemon, okay, right? Think about this for 1 second. What could you possibly do with this dark, light Pokemon with the sun and the moon? And we can make a singular game out of it. Stars was already something that they had copyrighted, but Eclipse is something that easily can happen with both of those things. If you had to split them into 2 games, there's an easy way to do it. But no, it's almost like saying Definitive or Omega, Ruby, Alpha, Sapphire. It's like adding the extra word. It's doing nothing. It's doing nothing to it. It's like the antonym of creativity is what I see in this. It's so sad because this was so easy. This was so easy to do this right. How in the world could they have screwed that up? I don't even know what to say anymore about this. Like, it's seriously like an outrage. Even this is like, honestly, I never really played the game, but that's not exciting. Like, come on. Let's be honest, that's not what the Pokemon community wanted. That is something that should have been thrown at the end of a trailer that someone would be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to bring this to the Switch and add a couple new characters. Cool. And everyone would be like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. As opposed to something huge like the mainline Pokemon series. Which, of course, might I add, I didn't even get to, they will be releasing again as a holiday release title. Which means we're getting another one. Okay, so like it's not even a year. It's not even been a year and we're going to do it again. Is this regular now, Pokemon? Is this what you think of us? You're looking at, okay, past sales, how do we make the most amount of money from these people? Because our staple name can't possibly be tainted by what we do. And our content has nothing to do with how our sales go because people will buy it anyway. They're that stupid. That's what we need to do. We just need to release stuff at the best time. And we need to stop making a singular game. We need to just make 2s at a time. And because of that, I mean, when was the last time we had a singular game like this? You know? I mean, seriously, think about it. When was the last time we had a singular installment? Wasn't it Emerald? I mean, X and Y never got one. And then Sun and Moon was a 2-game release, which pretty much, in my opinion, I call it Gen 6.5 because it's an incomplete version of a Gen 7, and it's taking half of what was incomplete about Gen 6 and slamming them together. And then we have this, a 2 release. Before that, we had Gen 5. Moved to Gen 5, we had the Black 2, White 2. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it was Platinum. And then we had Black and White. Before that, we had Platinum. You know how long ago that was? Pokemon, I don't think they care anymore about what we want at all. I don't think that's what they're after. I think anymore, they realize that they can get away with not spending as much in researching. Like, and really going out of their comfort zone and trying new things. And to be fair, Sun and Moon, after, I'm going to say the first 2 islands of the game, the first 40% of that game really does that. And for the most part, is pretty successful in doing that, and I applaud it. The rest of it is an absolute train wreck, and it really needed more time put into it. The problem is, most people I know who have not finished Sun and Moon have stopped around the second island, and it's kind of sad because they asked me, should I keep playing it? And they asked me because I'm the avid Pokemon fan, and I say, you know, honestly, no, because after that point, you can see it was rushed and it was made for a holiday release, and we're going to get the same thing again here. And how much you want to bet there's going to be incomplete information from this? Who cares about the story? Like, honestly, who cares about the story? It's the fact that it shows up, they give you implications that things are going to be given out later, and they're not. And then you get through this point, and you say, we finished X and Y, and all of a sudden, they're like, forget about that stuff. Have a new generation. And for the most part, we were really excited. We forgot about it. We ignored it. It was gone. This is embarrassing. This seriously is embarrassing. I don't even know what on earth I could possibly... Oh, okay, at least bring this to Switch. People really... We want Pokemon Eclipse. Please don't name it Stars. Well, they're both a problem. This was dumb, and you guys know it. It should have been released on Nintendo Switch. Pokemon fans are pissed. They are extremely angry. I'm trying my best to find some better way to explain this to you guys without just making a rant video. But honestly, this is my initial reaction to this. It did just come out, so please be difficult for once. Please be difficult for once. Yes, that is another thing. I mean, the difficulty in Pokemon games lately has been getting easier and easier, and I think it's mainly because they keep aiming for a child audience, or more of an all-ages audience. The more that they include more story into Pokemon, the more I feel like it doesn't belong in Pokemon. And for that, the more story goes into it, the more kid-friendly it is, and the easier the game is. So, to be fair, Sun and Moon was super easy, dude. But salt, everyone. So much salt. Exactly. What makes them so ultra plus ultra? I don't even know. Next year will be Sinnoh Remix. If they are, that will be 4, technically, because it's going to be 2. That'll be technically 4 Pokemon games in a row I will not purchase. I will not buy these. Unless something... The only thing that could possibly come out, honestly, that would make me really consider buying this has nothing to do with the content of the game, purely because I'm a shiny hunter. If this turns out to be like a shiny hunting gold mine, guess who's not buying it? Me! That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So anyway, what I was trying to say... Oh my god. Okay, so what I was gonna say, I totally lost what I was gonna say. I got so distracted. I'm ultra depressed. Oh my god. Jeez. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh god, this is getting... Oh my god, nobody actually thinks that one. If you think this is exactly... I was even gonna put this meme on my thumbnail thinking, they think you're this stupid. This is exactly what they think you are right now. So, it's really sad. Don't you think you're using the Gen 5 formula again? It's your worst generation. I argue against that. I think they tried enough things in there, but still, it's disgusting. They did a job doing Black 2, White 2, yeah, whatever. Why not a Coliseum game for the Switch instead of Pokken? Because that was actually made by a different developer entirely. That Nintendo would not be behind that. This game has no purpose in any way possible. Nope. This is all I asked for. Seriously? I see it's so divided. You know, it's so divided, Ultra. I don't know. It's painful. It's just really painful. I wish I knew what I was going to say to you guys a minute ago, but seriously, I really wish I knew what on earth was... Oh, yes, what they could add in here to make me honestly want this, because if it's a shiny hunting gold mine, as in there's a bunch of cool new shiny hunting methods, because in Sun and Moon, seriously, you have the SOS method and Masuna method, and that's all. Hope you like those. And for the most part, they've been taking out methods pretty much a generation after installing it. It's been frustrating, especially for a shiny hunter like me. So, I mean, if the area is enormous and there's tons of new Pokemon to hunt, I would love to. Change the sparkle animations because they suck in this generation. No, they will not do that because it's still a Gen 7 game. On top of that, I mean, Can we please use the walking animations that are all saved in our games? We all know they're there. There's walking animations and even running animations of every single Pokemon saved into the game as if it was following behind you like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. If you add that into that game, that one stupid little element that I loved out of that game so much, it added an extra level of interactivity between the player and their creatures that they're raising. It changes the experience in, I think, such a positive way because you always see them with you instead of something like Pokemon Refresh or Pokemon and Me. That's different because you have to go out of your way to interact with it. It's like looking at them in the box. It's not the same thing. Seeing them with you, seeing them go on that adventure with you, that is different, and it changes the experience entirely. Plus, it's amazing with shiny Pokemon, getting to show them off that way. I don't want to make this all about shiny Pokemon. This is just personally things that I want to see in this. To make me even want to buy it, because honestly, this hurts. This really hurts to see. What could be possible is seeing how in the end of Sun and Moon, and it's not a spoiler, one of the main characters goes to Kanto, and your main character you play as is originally from Kanto. If we can go to Alola as well as Kanto and basically explore twice as much content, then I can excuse this, but I feel like if that was the case, that's something huge they probably would have told us about. So, since instead they showed us things about new Z-moves for Pokemon, I'm sorry, they're expanding old gimmicks. And not only that, they are digging up old gimmicks and even throwing those at you. Like, it's so painful to look at. I'm not even sure what they could really do to make me even want this. I'm seriously thinking, because I looked at the same thing. I looked at Black 2, White 2, and I thought, okay, so if we're going to have fusion Pokemon, are we going to be able to fuse everything? At this point, we're in a world of cells. We're not using pixels. That's really asking way too much. That's way too much, especially with the animation files. It's insane. You can't do that. So at this point, that's completely out of the question. And all I see is there's no way to go to other regions, at least in Sun and Moon, and it was depressing. There's shiny locks galore everywhere in Sun and Moon, so if those are removed, similar to how, I mean, some shiny locks were removed on Pokemon in Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, basically the only ones that got removed were Reshiram and Zekrom. Other than that, I mean, we're playing the same games. I mean, we could have hunted those Pokemon in other ways. Still, I don't know. I don't know what they could possibly do to fix this. They said they're going to be adding new Pokemon, and all that really means is Pokemon who were not originally accessible by the Pokedex, so it means if you just bought Sun and Moon, now you'll probably be able to finish your Pokedex just in these two games, which means they're going to throw in a ton of Legendaries, kind of like they did in Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, and that's it. I mean, I don't see why I should waste more time investing or even talking about this. I want to make sure that I at least got my point across, like, and I'm glad that scrolling through there, I'm sorry if there was some obscene comments that you guys had to see, but people are infuriated about this. It's not just me for once, but seriously, this is sad. This is really sad. This needs to stop, and Pokemon needs to stop treating us like we're freaking stupid, because that's what they're doing. They think we're stupid, and if we buy this and it sells well and they make a ton of money because they made 2 games instead of just 1, we are proving them right. So honestly, don't vote by complaining in Twitter. Vote with this thing, okay? Vote with your wallet. Tell them, no, I'm keeping this money. I'm keeping it right here. In fact, it's not yours. I'm going to wait till you actually make good content before I actually give you any of that stuff. Because right now, what you're showing me, Pokemon, is you don't deserve it. You don't deserve a single penny from me anymore if you keep up this crap. There's this stuff going on and the remakes going on. If this keeps happening, no. No. I'll play new generations when they come out because I'm just an avid Pokemon fan. I have played it ever since it came to America when I was in grade school. And I haven't missed a generation since, but I'm looking at this. This is maybe the first time I'm looking at Pokemon and shaking my head. I don't think I can do this. This is going too far. This has been going on too long. and I say I'm done. I've been ranting about this for an extremely long time now. I'm really sorry if I kept you guys for too long, but either way, I clearly had a lot to say about this, and I know you guys are asking, like, are you excited? I need a reaction video, and God, I just don't. But either way, I mean, for the people who are excited for this, I mean, I hope you enjoy the game. And for those of you who don't want this, join the club. Vote with your wallet. Like I said, just vote with your wallet. Pokemon, they're doing this because they're making money. And if they're not making money, they will stop doing it. That is how to stop them. So, either way, I guess that's all I got to say. Thank you guys all so much for watching and listening to me for ranting about this for over a half an hour, and I'm sorry for keeping you so long, but either way, like I said, that is all the time I have for now. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and I will see you all in the next video. See you.